Something I often hear and also tend to say rather often, especially when the other person is somebody I want to impress, is to answer the question, what are your hobbies, what are your interests, or what do you do in your free time, with the statement, I love to travel. But there's the thing about it. An article a friend showed me made me think about it. So neither does it feel very good to declare traveling as my main hobby, as there are always people who travel more often, as there's always more to discover, those kind of things. Nor does it ever have the wished effect to make a particular good impression. Why? It's because the answer I love to travel is so universal and common, so that it's neither very informative or interesting, nor to any degree impressive. Still we say it. And additionally, we like to tell people about our travels and look forward to doing so. So,
why are we so stoked about traveling?
there are obvious reasons we all can refer to. Foreign landscapes, food, drinks, smells, temperatures. These are all aspects I would order into the category make experiences. Also rather obvious, even if we maybe don't want to see it straight away, to escape our everyday life. Not having to think about the things we stress our minds with from day to day. The hardest one to see straight away, to feel important. Disclaimer, I do not want to say this is something particularly bad. I do not want to blame anyone or myself for it. Somehow feeling very important and getting social recognition is just another survival instinct. Still, it has certain boundaries. So think about it. In holiday, we are guests of something, of a country, city, or hotel, or an apartment, or just a host, a person, and we get cared for. Different to, for example, in our jobs. We can freely decide what, when, and where we want to do it. We are foreigners without knowing much about the people surrounding us, so we don't really have to take on a role. We can feel very important and self-ruled. And then there's the getting admiration and bragging thing, which leads us to the first part of the answers to the question, is traveling actually bad for us? When abroad, we tend to do the things we think are to be done at this particular place, in this particular situation. In Italy, we eat ice cream and pizza. In London, we go to see, I don't know, Buckingham Palace maybe, make a ride in the London Eye. In the southeast of Africa, we go on a safari. These kind of things. Obviously, all these activities are very fun to do, no doubt. But not the things we would define ourselves with. As assumed before, a major reason for us doing what we do on holiday is because we simply reproduce the idea we had of this place even before we arrived. And also because when returning, we want to take part in spreading the idea of the place. There's this article I've been referring to. The article's author, Agnes Callard, introduces a fitting term, the traveler's delusion. This means that, quote, travel turns us into the worst version of ourselves while convincing us that we are at our best. Let us translate that. We get all those positive feelings mentioned at the beginning, making experiences, escaping everyday life, feeling important, and additionally proving the idea we had of a place, right? Getting stories we want to tell, which people want to hear because it proves them right, while actually neglecting our eating, spending, and health habits, but above all, not listening to and pursuing what actually makes us happy. I personally feel the distortion is difficult to see when only looking at yourself. In one's own city, one does often avoid places that are regarded as touristic. If you think of the places in your city or your town, how do you see them? What would come to my mind is crowded or overdone. But not to be only egoistic, there's a last important aspect in the article I do not want to miss out, as it refers to the effect on the people in the regions or countries or cities or whatever affected by tourism. So let's ask ourselves, how does tourism conflict with a place's identity? Let's look at some numbers. There are states in this world, like for example the Maldives, which is an island group in the middle of the Indian Ocean, in which tourism brings nearly 39% of the yearly GDP, meaning that if tourism falls away, the country's economy would basically be in a total disaster. But it's not only the island states. Croatia, a country in the southeast of Europe, has a tourism sector that makes more than 15% of the country's GDP. And in Germany, a country in the middle of Europe, 2.9%. 9 million people are employed to produce goods and secure services that directly refer to tourism. I think for now it sounds as tourism only brings economic chances to countries. Where lies the problem? Well, except for the environmental stress, such as throwing garbage everywhere into the sea, into the nature, air pollution, tourists also, we had that before, bring their idea of how a place should look like. And as the simple rule of economy then dictates, where there is a demand, there will be an offer. So it comes that places and the industry shape to match the ideas of tourists and not in their own way. Nobody can have the authority to say whether tourism really is good or bad for us, as the question cannot really be answered by science, as it is simply too vague. What can be said is that travel brings a lot of joy and economic chances to countries. We maybe should still recall into our present mind more often that our travel inflicts change on the places we go more than it does on us, and maybe we should more often reflect what we actually do when visiting a place and what actually makes us happy while doing so. When reading the article, I found it to be very interesting but exaggerated. What I liked is that the author gave an idea
On what she thought real travels are like.
travel then does feel right when you're not sure how exactly things will be when you come home again. Another idea she had is that a travel then feels right when you don't have to take so many photos because the reason for which you visit a place speaks for itself. The article this video is based on was published
In the New Yorker,
and written by Agnes Callard, an American philosopher and professor of philosophy at the University of Chicago, who's also known for her works in the field of public philosophy. I'm gonna link the article in the description below. So what do you think? Should we travel? And also let me know if you have any feedback, because this helps me the most. Thank you. Bye.